You're listening to the Media Man Dan Podcast, your place for music, movies, news, reviews, and interviews. Welcome to the show. Get ready to rock. Let's rock!
Once again, if you guys didn't see here, I'm just going to give my friend a shout out. Eddie Lamb Music is an awesome dude and one of my greatest friends, and he has an incredible band that created that song. So if you guys wanted to go check it out, it's on Spotify and all other services, and you can find it on YouTube as well. There's Definition Part 1 that's a little bit more subtle. I like Definition Part 2 just because it has more electric guitar, more heavier kind of sound that I would expect to have for like a rock intro. And that's why I was really happy to be able to use this. And Eddie is awesome. So once again, Eddie Lamb Music, you guys can go find him anywhere. He's awesome. And he is actually blown up big time on TikTok for helping a lot of people with learning the simple parts of the guitar by doing almost a daily upload of every single song that you could possibly find in any genre and showing people how to play it acoustically with just a couple of chords. It's awesome. I wish I could play guitar, but if I ever needed help, I would go to Eddie Lamb Music. All right, that's about it. I'm not sponsored by him or anything. I just wanted to shout out my friend because there are some really talented people that always deserve respect. Welcome to the stream once again. I am Media Man Dan. We are going to be discussing one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, movies, film, whatever you want to call it. Movies are above me. Movies are on my shirt here. I got Baby Driver above my head. I'm going to be editing all of this later on, and you guys can catch it. This is going to be, once again, on YouTube and Spotify, just in case you guys can't see my streams when they are going live. I don't blame you. It is 11:12 in the morning. Just kidding. 11:12 at night on the 30th of January. So we're almost done, and we're almost getting into February. Like I said, I am super pumped for this incredible stream because I'm going to be talking about movies, and this is going to be a long one. Let's have some fun. It's time to go right in to movie number 1. I'm going to be going by the worst movies I saw last year or caught up on this year, and also I'm going to be talking about why I didn't like them. I'm going to be talking about why I love the movies at the end, which is going to be not those, of course, not the worst, but when we get to the best, I will be discussing all of the best qualities of every single one of them, the things that really blew my mind, the things that made me really think and beat me in the heartstrings, especially with one of the most recent movies that I consider an A+. So, stick around if you'd like. Catch it up tomorrow. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you guys to feel like this is a place where you can chill and talk with me and ask me anything that you want during it. I will definitely respond as soon as I can. I got live chat open available to me just in case you guys say something cool. So here we go. Number 1. Worst movie of the year goes to Black Adam. Black Adam featuring one of the worst performances from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, featuring one of the worst performances from a teenage or child actor, and also featuring a blatant ripoff of not only Deadpool's mask, but this weird self-aware humor that did not fit at all. And now, coming from DC, this is nothing new to me. I've seen Birds of Prey, and that was very Deadpool. You can find one of my older videos on my Music Man Dan channel, and I do discuss Birds of Prey and a couple other movies, and I do talk about the relativity when it comes to how many people are stealing the style and comedy and everything from Deadpool just because of the success that it had way back in 2016. And Black Adam is just another one of those movies. Because we have a character here, I think it's Adam something like that, Atom. I know that he was, Atom Smasher. He was in The Flash, the TV show. That's really how I know the character. I didn't really read the comics or anything like that. But in this movie, he gets basically no lines that actually matter. He's the character design of Deadpool. He literally has the eye movements while he's behind his mask. And then we also have the girl that's totally not Storm, but acts like Storm from the X-Men. And I am just getting started when it comes to hating on this movie. The plot of Black Adam is so outlandish that they had to show the same flashback 3 times for us to understand. As Chris Stuckman and many other reviewers have said, the best thing that a movie can do is respect that their audience understands the subject matter, understands what's happening on screen. We don't need it told to us. We don't need instant exposition followed by extra exposition of the same scene, and then end the movie with more of that same exact scene exposition to give us the final conclusion. Absolutely terrible story writing. This is a movie that had 15 years, I believe, in development. It seemed like they just made it just like when COVID started in 2020, and we're just like, yeah, it's good enough. Let's release that. There's only one real scene that actually fits the character of Black Adam, according to Angry Joe and a couple other people that really do follow this character, and that is when he's killing the people in the cave in order to get the crown. Now, this crown apparently is the only thing that can hurt this character. Black Adam is supposed to be one of the biggest antagonists and anti-heroes in the DC universe, and one of the biggest villains when it comes to Shazam. This guy, The Rock, is not it. This guy is not a villain. This guy has absolutely no way of showing that he's truly villainous. He's killing only bad guys constantly through the movie. And the characters that are there are like, oh, you can't kill anyone. But it's like, you know, they're the bad guys. Obviously, if Superman had to blow up a planet full of bad guys, he'd do it in order to save the Earth, right? If it was, you know, attacking the Earth and he'd destroy it. But when it comes to this, they're like, oh, no, don't kill anyone because that's not what superheroes do. Now, Black Adam never said anything about being a superhero. And it's not even about him. Apparently, spoiler alert, it's about his son. It's about that big, huge statue and how important he thinks he is, right? But they kept changing that stupid storyline. Like I said, they go back to this same exact scene 3 times. Very bad decision making unless you have something to bring that's going to be completely different. A different perspective, maybe through a different character's eyes. Instead, they don't do anything interesting at all, and they just get worse and worse with every single scene. This movie is full of some of the worst dialogue I have heard in cinema. One of the worst scenes is the end scene where there is these like zombies coming from the gates of hell and like demons, right? They're about to attack this kid and all of these other innocent people. And these innocent people don't know what to do unless this little teenage boy says something at a mild volume. Outside, in the middle of, like, chaos everywhere. He's just like, hey, guys, you know, we should start fighting now. And then everybody follows him, and they're like, yeah, what the kids said. And as Angry Joe and all these other guys pointed out, they're fighting with loaves of bread. They're taking care of the army of hell that comes straight from basically the devil himself with this entity that they have in this movie. And Black Adam is supposed to be, like, one of those that gets, like, you know, attacked by this, and that this is like the final end. This is the doom for this character. That's what we're thinking the whole movie. That's what they consistently push towards. But right before this scene, this is where it really pissed me off. We have a character that is the main character of the movie silenced. And it's not like a silence like, oh, they have a special power like in Doctor Strange where the character couldn't talk, right? And then we'll be talking about Doctor Strange a little bit later. Lots of interesting things to say about that film. Either way, Black Adam has this one character trope of killing people and becoming the hero or villain that he is by saying the word Shazam. They have a 10-minute scene. I'm not kidding. It goes by in 10 minutes where they say you can't be saying Shazam anymore because you're a monster and you're trying to kill everyone. And he's like, that's just who I am. That's just what I'm made to be. This is just my destiny. And they're like, well, we don't stand for this, and we're going to put a big water tube around you and you won't be able to say Shazam anymore, so you can never turn into Black Adam again. Ha ha. And then 10 minutes later, they're like, oh, wait, fuck, never mind. We actually need your help now because it seems like the gates of hell have been opened and the devil himself is here to destroy everything. And oh man, if we could just use your power one last time, Shazam. Black Adam. Like, they just didn't care about this whole anti-hero thing. They didn't care about anything at all. They seemed like they were rushing everything. The only actor and character in this entire movie that matters is Dr. Fate, played by James Bond himself, Pierce Brosnan. He was so good at this role. He seemed like he actually wanted to be in a film, and he wanted to show his best in that type of film. He seemed like somebody that would lead a Justice League. Like, this is the something, I can't remember what their name is. American League of Justice or something like that. It was very simple. And I seriously cannot remember part of them because they have so little screen time compared to Black Adam and this kid and his mom and that crown and the little side storyline and all the devil stuff. I have no idea how anyone greenlit this at the time that it was like ready way back in time and said, let's still put it out instead of just saying scrap the project. But the whole thing that everybody got excited for, right? At the end, we got the end credit scene and oh my gosh, Henry Cavill is back as Superman. No way. Now, the last time that we hinted at this was in Shazam, the first movie, when he's in the lunchroom and you can only see everything all the way up to his face. They said that was because of Mission Impossible that was being shot at the time, so he had like the beard on and everything, so he didn't look exactly like Henry Cavill's Superman usually would. But in this case, we're like, oh yes, this is the only thing that we needed. Like Black Adam versus Superman, how epic! What an incredible conclusion, and give us like something to look forward to for the DCEU. And then what do we have happen? Literally just a couple of months go by, this movie that's claimed to be so good, right? Everybody loves it. That's what The Rock is like, oh, the numbers are going crazy. Absolute flop, absolutely deserved it. Hated every single second of being in this film. It was so boring at times. There were moments where I didn't even care, and then it would come back to that stupid replayed scene that we've already seen a billion times, and it's like, here we are again. Yeah, it was so much replay. It seemed like they didn't want to push the story forward. By the time it did, it was full throttle, absolute batshit crazy, and like I said, just terrible acting, terrible dialogue. There's some terrible plot lines. If you wanted to see some great movie reviews, everyone had one, and people that are extra critical, I give them so much respect, because there were so many people sucking The Rock's dick for this movie, thinking that this was some kind of masterpiece. Oh wow, look at what you did. Oh wow, The Rock was in a superhero movie, everyone go crazy. Shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to go crazy for a bad film. No bad films deserve to have anyone go crazy for it. Now, that being said, if you have your own opinion where you're saying this is one of the greatest movies you've seen personally from your perspective and you love it, perfectly fine. Maybe you're like an 8-year-old that doesn't understand anything about story, writing, dialogue, or representation of a character in a comic book versus a medium that is film. Either way, Black Adam sucks. Please never ever make anything like it again. And James Gunn, for the love of God, please tell us what your plan was, because when you cut Superman at the end of an end credit scene, like that would be like cutting Thanos from Infinity War, right? We're hinting at something big that's going to happen, and you're just like, no, I decided not to have that. James, we need an explanation. We need something to happen there. You can retcon this shit. Just make sure the Black Adam doesn't exist in the universe the way that it is, or fix everything like Zack Snyder did with his Justice League. And yes, I liked that version. Joss Whedon absolutely did not understand anything about character development. He did not understand anything about how dark the DCEU should be, how dark the DC lore is when it comes to this character of Batman. You make him look like Iron Man. You put a nice iron suit. Everyone goes crazy for the action figure. I get the toy thing, but this is not the character. We got the character this year with the actual Batman, and I'll be talking about that shortly. Either way, that was my quick thoughts on Black Adam. F. Fuck that movie. The next movie also happens to be a DC product, and this is a kid-friendly one, so I might not swear as much. This is DC Super Pets, something like that, League of Super Pets. It was weird. It was not my cup of tea. I watch kids' movies all the time, and I can enjoy them because there are some things that are made for adults. This movie didn't really give me that kind of feeling. There were some really good character designs. I definitely liked that these random animals were chosen to be with the Justice League at the end and, fight a really strange monster, a little like guinea pig or something like that. That was a strange choice, definitely for a kids' film. But the rest of it, I felt like we were just stuck with dull, boring annoying characters that I did not have any feelings for whatsoever. It was very hard to feel for anything except for the behind the scenes stuff that only us adults know. The actors like Keanu Reeves playing Batman, and of course Kevin Hart playing dog Batman. Like everything about it, you could see everything happening, like all these characters gonna group up together. You could see it coming a mile away since the movie started, since the poster had it, since the trailers had it. Everything showed what this movie was gonna have at the end, except for the big, huge battle, I guess. And it was like just there. There was nothing special about this. I give this a D minus. I will probably push it up to a D, honestly, just because I didn't hate the experience, but I don't really remember enough to tell you great things about it. And that's one of the worst things about movies, is having a bad memory. Speaking of memory, let's go into that shitty movie. There was a movie that was with Liam Neeson last year, and he thought he could catch that, action-packed, awesome character moment from Taken. This movie was not a good choice. This was not a good comeback for this actor. I love Liam Neeson. I love Taken. I will say that. I really, really love that movie. A couple of the others, like Nonstop and Commuter, both of them really fun, really interesting when you see it the first time. And of course, when you see it again and again, you're like, I can see everything coming a mile away. But this movie was so bad, like I just said, I couldn't remember it. There is 3 scenes that I remember. He's at a garage or something looking for old items. He loses a key, and he left it in a house that's like abandoned and full of bats or birds or something. And he loses his memory a lot. That's it. That's all I remember from the entire movie. That is absolutely terrible for a movie called Memory, is that your audience literally cannot remember your movie. That is a major F in my book, but I give this a D minus. Once again, I'm going to boost Super Pets up to D just because I didn't hate it. It wasn't the worst thing. Memory is right above Black Adam as one of the biggest weird movie disappointments. Just, why'd you make it? Why did it get greenlit? Why are we having to watch this shit? Why do we even give any time to Liam Neeson when they're rushing these scripts, when they're rushing him to push all of this stuff? He's becoming the new Steven Seagal, Bruce Willis, all these big action stars, right? They get their big comeback. You think they're going to be really, really good at this role, but instead they end up old and fat and ugly and not there at all. Sometimes Bruce Willis isn't even in the room. It's a stunt double talking. Like, it is insane how much Hollywood screws with these older guys, especially when they're in the action category or genre of film. It's very different. Memory sucks. Don't see it. Don't give it any time. Don't give it any money. Liam Neeson had his heyday. That was with Taken. That was with Star Wars. That was with everything that he did around that time. I think it ended after Commuter. That was just the end of everything. I still need to see A Walk Among the Tombstones, though. I was told that's really good. Oh, and The Grey. I definitely need to see that. Now we get to go into another movie that's part of a franchise that I honestly just wish would die already. If it continues, it won't shock me because the success that it's had ever since it's come back with Jurassic World. We will now go into the 3rd movie of the Jurassic World trilogy, Dominion. Now, a lot of people have talked about the locust thing. For me, I can just say I don't like that this movie was so afraid to give us exactly what the second one hinted at. I won't even talk about the locusts like being a main plot point because I honestly couldn't remember them for shit. I could barely remember anything except for the girl in the cabin, a couple of the velociraptor scenes, the one where they're like fighting on ice or something, and the weird like edgy type of dinosaur that was in the forest, and that was actually a nice edge of your seat kind of like suspense. I liked that part. That felt very Jurassic Park, and I'm also a huge fan of the first movie, as with everyone on the planet basically. That is such a fantastic film, and it came out the year I was born, and I definitely should have seen it earlier, but I probably would have been too scared because I still get scared from that jump scare scene with the T-Rex and stuff. Either way, Dominion seemed like a great idea. Bring back the original cast. We're all thinking, oh my gosh, if they do a Star Wars Disney trilogy, we're going to be pissed. If we lose our favorite legendary heroes, this is going to suck. And I kind of wish they weren't there. I don't feel like Jeff Goldblum wanted to be in the room. The main character couldn't stop talking about things that no one cared about. And the only one that really mattered was the woman that I completely hated in Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, I get all of that. I know that they're original cast members, right? But they're not putting in their full potential in this specific movie. This is not the one that should have been their big comeback. I honestly think if they came in the first one instead of the kids that we had to follow and the random redhead, I really don't care for this actress, and I don't care for her attitude as this character. It's just very annoying to me. I would have loved to have the originals like send off, oh, we're going to be, taking care of the island, but then Chris Pratt comes along and then they're like, oh, we'll give it to you now. You seem like a decent person that'll take care of everything. And here you go, Owen. You got this. That would be cool. But either way, we didn't get that. We got this third movie. It was dull. There was that little bit of suspense that we had in the middle with that forest dinosaur. Still don't know what it's called. And then we had the big climactic ending that we've had at all three of these movies. It basically seems like this T-Rex is just unstoppable, and it goes and it starts fighting the random dinosaur that's not supposed to be there because man was not meant to bring back the dinosaurs, blah, 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 blah. We've seen it 6 times now. We're good. We don't need it anymore. Please stop making these. If you stop making the movies, if you stop going to the movies and giving the money, then they can't make them anymore, and then we can just be done and let the good stuff stay. People really like Jurassic World. I'm coming around to it too. The first one, I think it was good. But the first Jurassic Park movie is an untouchable masterpiece. So fucking good. Perfect for dinosaur lovers. Perfect for great suspense and excellent, like, computer animation at that time. It's just incredible. Regardless, let's move on from this. I give it a D. D for Dominion. All right. Somehow, I don't know why I put this one higher than Jurassic World. I'm going to switch these two. Jurassic World goes higher than this. Ice Age, I don't know if this is like the 6th movie, the 7th movie. We had some random character that we were introduced to in like the 4th or 5th movie, and we're supposed to follow along Buck Wild's adventure. Now, the thing about an Ice Age movie, you get Manny, you get Sid the Sloth, you get the saber-toothed tiger, Diego, and all of these characters matter to you in the beginning. You keep adding more characters, and you're like, yeah, no, this is good. I got Ellie and her interesting brothers that are possums. Like, this is cool. This is an interesting thing. We got the second movie, and then the third movie. I love dinosaurs. I was happy to see some dinosaurs in it. I was like, all right, this is fun. The fourth movie, batshit crazy. Like, everything goes crazy. It's all becoming like pirate lore and where they're going to be going into space. Like, what is going on with this franchise? It was my question originally, and now we got this random character that I don't care about, and we have to spend an entire movie with him, and it's not even available in like theaters. You had to watch it on demand or something. It's just not worth your time. It didn't do anything for the movie at all. Either way, let's get out of the D's. We're done with the D's. We're done with the one and only F with Black Adam. We're now going into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with a nice, beautiful bottom tier C-. Holy shit, man. If you told me, coming from Infinity War and Endgame, that Thor would get one of the biggest disappointments in the entire MCU, after, I didn't like Ragnarok, but now I understand, like, it connects to the story, but now here we are with Love and Thunder. Oh, it's tone deaf, to say the least. It has absolutely no idea what to do with Christian Bale, and he's such a great actor in this movie. He did so well with whatever he was given, and they barely gave him any screen time, and we don't care about this character. They're making fun of everything that's going on, both serious in real life and serious in the fictional universe. Like Sean Chandler pointed out, we have infinity cones, which is just a terrible way of looking at the awful events of, a genocide. Losing half of the population is insane, and they're making a joke about it with ice cream. We have the joke about Natalie Portman getting cancer. Like, I mean, of course, it's first you're like, oh, this is very serious and important, but then what happens? She starts talking like it's a big, oh yeah, I got cancer, whoops. It's so out of place. It doesn't fit at all. It's very Ragnarok, sure, but at the same time, it seems like it's too much comedy, too much. I can't even call it fun. It's just too much overall. It's overwhelming with Taika Waititi's type of humor and the direction style and the screaming goats. Everything about this movie was just so hard to watch the second time. I'll tell you the first time, though. I think it was the first time. The first time I liked it. I got out of the movie, I was like, yeah, that was good. That was okay. And I saw it the second time, and I started noticing the flaws, and I started noticing more and more. I was like, oh my gosh, they're absolutely right about what they're saying critically. There's so many things that do not fit what we've been given in the MCU. This is just a major disappointment, especially for the character of Thor. And I know that Chris Hemsworth is so good at this role, and he loves playing it, and he had his daughters involved, and like, that's so beautiful. It's so sweet, man. But then you have this terrible plot and these terrible jokes that do not fit at all and just ruin your overall experience when you leave, and you're just like, Christian Bale, the only character who had ever wanted to do anything right in the whole movie, just taking care of his daughter and understanding why the gods are such dicks to people, he decides that he wants to kill all the gods. Then at the end, Thor, who's a complete nut job, talking to two hammers like they're in a relationship, basically having a three-way with them when he's not with Natalie Portman, talking about how he has no power compared to her. And we won't even talk about the feminism here. It's so pushed onto everything. That's basically what we have every single day in our woke culture, in our MCU, in our DC universe. Everything has been pushed to this feminist thing, and a lot of people have been pointing out it's fine to do a character that's female. It's fine to do a gender swap of a character as long as you write the fucking character correctly and you want your character to be loved by the audience that's going to, want to see more of the character. And a lot of them seem to be total bitches. Like, you got Captain Marvel, now you got Mighty Thor. Everybody's telling the male absolute awesome protagonist that they're not cool enough to be the real one. Oh, we're the cool one now. Shut up, sit in your corner, or either that, write a better script. Say this is what the character is going to go through. This is the kind of hardships that they're going to have to face, and this is how they're going to prevail. And not just the random cancer thing and then making a joke out of it. Like, there's so many things that you could have done with her. You could have made her so cool, and she looked great in the outfit. I'll tell you that. She looked fantastic. Natalie Portman looked better than she has in years. I can say that because I've seen a ton of Star Wars. I did not see Black Swan, though. I was told that was a really strange movie, so I might see that one day. Regardless, it felt like this movie didn't understand where it was going. It felt like it didn't belong at all. It felt like they just wanted to consistently give you this message that Thor is a dumbass and that Natalie Portman's character is more important. And once again, these are the two characters that we're stuck with for most of the movie, and they're preaching to us about how dumb they are. And then we get to the end where it's all sentimental, and we're looking at Christian Bale's character where he has nothing left to live for. He finally got the thing that he wanted just to get his daughter back, and he dies. And he's basically like, oh, well, I'm dead now. Here's my daughter, take care of her. And that's why we got Love and Thunder. So now we got Thor's daughter. I don't know if it's his actual daughter. I think that she was the one that was holding the bunny or teddy bear or whatever, the thing that had laser eyes. That was cute. I'll tell you that. That's why I was like, I can't put it in the D. Also, it was really well shot. There was incredible cinematography and really good color. It definitely... Oh, you know what? Let's talk about one thing that I forgot from the beginning of the film. Where the hell were they coming from with this idea of putting Thor with the Guardians for only like 10 minutes of the film and giving the Guardians no lines that stick with you, no jokes that stick with you. After having two fantastic movies, in my opinion, the Guardians are such important characters to the MCU. We got Infinity War and Endgame that really gave them excellent development, and you just throw them into the side like they're nothing. They're nothing because Thor has to do his random split kicks, and there's just so much music that has to be pushed in here, so we don't have time for one of the most important products, I guess you could say, in your universe. This is your characters that you created for us to love, and you're just sidelining them. That's not cool. I don't like it. Don't do it. Hey Dan, I think Christian Bale is the best actor today. If you haven't seen The Fighter with him, Mark Wahlberg, Amy Adams, that's one of my favorite movies. I love Amy Adams in Southpaw. That is the one and only boxing movie besides like the Rocky Balboa and Creed series that I really enjoy. I can say that I think Christian Bale is a damn good actor, and everything that he's in is phenomenal, and I love that he's able to play so many roles, especially that one movie, American... what was that called? American Hustle or something like that. It was so good. I loved his role. I loved that he was able to pull off the character voices. I know Batman is a little growly for some people, but he really did great with that character. And it sucks that they didn't give him much screen time in Love and Thunder. And yeah, that's my opinion on Christian Bale. He should really get these better roles. He should really have like a starring role again in one of the superhero movies. Whether DC or MCU, I don't care. Just give him something because he's so good. Either way, let's move on. We do not have the only C-. And you know what? I might bump this up later. I don't know. I saw this movie 3 times. It seemed like it was getting more and more annoying every time. And now this is nothing new when it comes to these specific characters and their specific movies. Minions: Rise of Gru. Now, I will tell you this. Despicable Me 1 and 2 are some of my favorite animated movies. I love the second one because I love any character that falls in love and finds somebody that's just like them, and the way that they have chemistry with each other immediately, and they're constantly pushing one another and annoying one another. It's so adorable, and it works really well for the kids' film. Along with that, we get some hilarious scenes with the Minions that I cannot say bad things about, and we get that family dynamic that we get from the first movie that works so well as well. So it's like everything that I wanted in one. The people that like consistently roast it, I understand where they're coming from. I could say Despicable Me 3 is probably like my least favorite just because I do not remember the film. I think there's a twin brother that Gru has, Drew, that's it. And yeah, there's just forgettable villain, forgettable everything. Even though it's Trey Parker from South Park, it's so weird that they didn't give him much more to do with that character. Regardless, we got Minions: Rise of Gru, we got Minions, we got Despicable Me 1 and 2. Those are the movies that I'm going to be discussing here. Continuity is one of my favorite things when it comes to cinema, and I love that this series actually gives us some background information about Gru, how he grew up, what he was thinking, how he was feeling, going from the first Minions movie to the second Minions movie, and hopefully there will be a third one. Then we can go straight into Despicable Me, continue the story, stop at number 2, honestly. That's like a perfect place. But I can say this is definitely not my favorite of the animated franchises that we have available to us today, and I will definitely be talking about one much later as we go on here. I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be part 1. I'll probably do the B's and A's on Wednesday, just because I feel like I won't have enough time to do it today. I don't really want to push too much onto people, and I have a lot of opinions when it comes to these films. I have a lot of reasoning for why I rate these things so low or so high. I always go to the movies as a wonderful detachment from any stress that I feel in life, and just for, for curiosity's sake, especially with the new movies that I've been seeing. And like sometimes I just take a chance and I say, hey, I kind of heard something good about it, let's see how it is. And me and my fiance went and we saw like The Whale recently, and oh wow. Very impressive film, I can say that. But I don't think that's on my list. If that's a 2022, I never said that. I never said that. So I didn't spoil it for Wednesday. But for right now, let's continue with the C's. We're going to go C minuses. Once again, Minions Rise of Gru. I love the continuity of the character Gru. I love that we had some extra fun characters, and I love that they had a emotional moment between Gru growing into the supervillain and the supervillain that didn't really want to be a supervillain anymore because he was being outcasted. The Minion stuff got real stupid in the second act when we got that weird karate scene and it kept going on forever, and I was like, wait a second, why are we with this girl doing karate? There's so much other things you can do in a Despicable Me movie. You should have so much more time with Gru. You should be able to develop the character more. Now, kids don't care about this stuff. This is not for them. This is not their mindset. They're just thinking, wow, I'm going to get the toy for that. Wow, that was funny. Wow, that's outrageous. And, they get the hilarious out of everything. But for us adults that analyze everything, we're always looking for something that really sticks out to us and says, this is something you should pay attention to because it actually might be important to your story that you're trying to put in your head. Like I said, continuity, very important. Extremely important. And I could say that because of the fact that they gave so much time for young Gru to understand that these people were bad, but he's like also bad but not like super evil yet, it was nice. It was nice and it felt good, and I couldn't give it a D because I had so much fun with it all 3 times. Like I said, it got more outlandish as you go on. You're just like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? There's always questions that are coming to mind whenever you rewatch a film. But if you don't care about a film, then yeah, probably don't rewatch it. or listen to somebody that has rewatched it and just hear what they're saying and be like, oh yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I'll try to talk to anyone about anything that's on my mind at any time. You guys can DM me on Instagram, Media Man Dan, anytime. Just literally message me and be like, Dan, I like what you said here, or I hate what you said here. We can go to battle. We can be best friends. I don't mind. We're going to have fun. That's what literally this entire podcast is about. Understanding me, getting to understand where I'm coming from with things, hopefully agreeing, but if not, letting me know your opinion so maybe you could change my mind. It's a pretty good deal. Either way, let's go on to the next C- that I have available here. The Lost City. Now, I just said before in the D's that we were stuck with some movies that I couldn't remember. I honestly remember 5, maybe 6 scenes from this movie. This is Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. Very interesting choices, by the way. I can say that Sandra Bullock I haven't seen in a really damn good comedy since The Heat, and a lot of people didn't like that movie. I loved it because I didn't really have much time with rated R movies growing up, so anything that was edgy and like, oh, they're saying more F words than I expected, or oh, that's a dirty joke, that kind of stuff got me when I was younger because I never got to see it when I was really young. So it was exciting, and I think I gave my credit way too much to that film. I did like Melissa McCarthy in that movie, though. She was fantastic. Regardless, we were stuck with Sandra Bullock playing an author, and they said that it's exactly like the film Romancing the Stone, basically another romance author that can't believe that any of this could possibly be real, and then she finds a guy, and the guy is exactly who she wrote, and this is just basically her own fictional story, her own fictional love story. And now this movie does the exact same story beats. I listened to a lot of people that reviewed it, and they said, yeah, it's a little bit too close. And I'm like, okay, well, let's give some credit to some things that actually were good. There is one moment in the movie at the end, not the end, at the middle part, we're getting the characters sitting around the campfire type of scene, and we're actually getting an open thought process of what Channing Tatum's character is thinking and how he feels in reality, which is actually a really good escape from this really buff dude that we thought was just the hot dumbass the whole time. He actually has feelings and stuff, and you can see that in his character. Channing Tatum is actually a really good actor. For anyone that hasn't seen Magic Mike, I know you're thinking, Dan, why the hell would I go and see a male stripper movie? Like, the third one's coming out. I don't know if you have to skip that. The first movie, I am not kidding you guys. If you don't watch Pitch Meeting, you definitely should, because that movie, or Honest Trailer, both of those, They go through these movies excellently, and they have great critique. But Magic Mike was one of my biggest surprises. I gave that movie an A way back in time. The reason for? Fantastic drama. Excellent writing. of character flaws and development throughout, and not just dancing. Dancing happened for 20 to 25 minutes of the entire film. The girls would probably go crazy, right, for that little bit of time. But for people that look for story, plot, and character development, this movie's really good. Now, The Lost City, not the case. There is some really strange choices that they have. It seems like everybody that's supposed to be very serious about their role is taking it as a joke, and it's written that way. They're not doing it to make fun of anything. But like Daniel Radcliffe is over the top, and everything else is over the top when Brad Pitt shows up. That's one of the best scenes, and you have no idea what's going on. You thought he was going to be a main character, and then boom, he's not there anymore. It's crazy. It's out there. It was one of the coolest things to see, like a completely different way of introducing a character, and then immediately making him delete himself from the story. Well, not delete himself, but somebody deletes him from the story, and wow, what a shocker that was. And there was blood for a PG-13. That was a pretty grotesque scene, but regardless, the movie was okay. It didn't do anything special. It was still better than Rise of Gru, and definitely better than Love and Thunder. Thor and Love and Thunder, just a huge disappointment. Like you guys can see, I'm wearing a Marvel hat right now. I wear it proudly because there is some great things in Marvel. I am definitely a Marvel fan because I like the uplifting, hopeful kind of comic book or story. In DC Universe, as I was talking about with the band that I just interviewed the other day, it's really dark, and it's hard to, latch on to anybody without them like instantly dying, or you're feeling awful for this person. Like, there's only a couple dark stories that I've really seen that make the limelight when it comes to MCU stuff. Like Daredevil, I'm really hoping that they stick to the exact same tone as the one from Netflix. And if anybody wants to go and binge that and tell me how that show is for the first time, because I haven't made time for it, I really want to. I know it's on Disney Plus, but I don't really have time for Disney Plus right now. I'm doing too much. I'm thinking too much. I got to see movies all the time. But if you can tell me how great the Daredevil show is, it'll maybe change my mind, and then I can just binge it and be like, yes, thank you so much, everybody. Because, yeah, he's a great character, Matt Murdock. And when he showed up in No Way Home, everyone went nuts. Nuts. Regardless, I don't know how I got off on this. MCU is going to be related to the next part here, but Lost City overall, they get a C-. I don't know why I went off on a tangent about the MCU. Now we're into Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is going to be a very subjective review. This is a very honest review. I love the cinematography of this film. I love the first half of this film. But when we get random girl that we had in the first movie in an Iron Man suit that looks like it was made for toddlers, I have problems. I have problems with Shuri being the size that she is and taking on something humongous and being like no big deal. I know she gets stabbed, but still, it's like no big deal. Like I said, this feminist stuff, they're writing characters, they're actually developing them. In this movie, they actually do that. But the problem is the other stuff that we're not doing. And the stupid villain, Kukulkan Khan or whatever, his stupid feather feet. I really couldn't stand this guy. He was very annoying, and he didn't come off as intimidating until he killed the queen. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't seen it. Yeah, it's really deep, really dark at moments. This film has some extremely well done tributes to Chadwick Boseman, and rest in peace to the actual Black Panther. That was an absolutely awful loss, and everybody in the community that loves that movie, I completely understand what you're feeling. But I can say this critically: this second movie, when it's not with Shuri, when it's not with the Queen, when it's not with Okoye, or I think that was her name. Regardless, when it's not with those characters, I really don't have interest in it. When we're with the tech girl and we're trying to figure out, like, oh, she's also got Tony's tech and stuff like that, I'm like, Tony's been dead for a while, just like let him die. I know the Chadwick has also been, but this is a specific tribute. Wakanda Forever was his thing that he said on set. That was his choice to say that, and putting the arms across. Like that was his decision. That was his mindset that he had on set when they were making the first movie. And it worked so well for the big comeback scene when it came to Endgame. It was awesome and epic, and I feel so awful that guy couldn't see his second film come out and be there for it. But regardless, like I said, the tribute was great. Everything else sucked. Really, I didn't like that Iron Man girl character or whatever. There were some weird scenes with the Avatar people. That's what I'll call them, the water people. They just felt like avatars. They were weird and blue, and they had some cool action on that boat. But everything else, there was really not the end boat, I should say. The first boat at the night scene when they're all doing their little songs, this little sirens, whatever they do. It was fine. It was good. And I was hoping that they would do something cool. Then we get Kukulkan Khan. And he ruins everything because he's just an annoying character. He's got an ego. And one of the worst parts of this movie is they tried to do an Avatar in the middle. Right when you're watching a 2-hour movie, right? And it's like 2.5 hours now because of this one little scene. And you're like, wait a second, do we need this scene? The spectacle of going underwater. It's like, I get it. The Way of Water is literally coming out the next month. Why do we have to see this right now? Why do we have to see their fortress right now? It was like an Aquaman thing. Aquaman did it better, though, honestly. I really like Aquaman. I know it's a bad movie, but holy shit, is it fun. Either way, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Really, really great tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Excellent character development for Shuri. Still wish that she would have got a little bit more muscular or something. Maybe like a Power Ranger add-on. She comes more buff just so she could take on the villain. And I wish that Kukulkan Khan was a better character and actually felt more intimidating than flying around on his stupid little feather feet like the guy that takes notes for Zeus in Hercules. Either way, that is the rest of my C- area. Actually, no, wait. What am I saying? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, C, not a C-, because it did have so much greatness in there, and there was some really, really smart writing and really excellent acting, especially from the Queen. If you haven't seen her speech for when she's talking about the tragedy that she went through, losing T'Challa, oh my God. Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, excellent acting. You believe you're on a Broadway set. Like, it was so, not Broadway, but you believe you're like seeing a full acting experience instead of just your regular MCU extravaganza, sparkles and lights and all that. This is like a really good character development moment right before she dies. But hey, they gave her one hell of a thing to say before she did. Regardless, C for Wakanda Forever. I think it's a really fun movie when it gets to the midpoint. Before that, I love that it's deep. I love that it takes itself seriously. I love that they immediately go into the death of T'Challa. They go into that tribute to Chadwick Boseman. They go into the character of Shuri, dealing with her anger and understanding how she's going to prevail in her life. Daredevil series is great, fantastic writing, acting, and action sequences. It goes pretty brutal at times. It gets pretty brutal at times, but Matt and Fisk are great on that show. Awesome. Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about it. I personally wasn't able to handle gore for quite a while. Like, I never grew up with it. Like I just said before, I never really watched rated R movies until I was past 18, 19 years old. Started catching up on them, started getting into like More of the Millers, which I showed you guys last time. Really funny, really smart, edgy humor that I enjoyed. But for me now, I'm more critical on things, so it's harder to satisfy me because I've seen so much. However, Daredevil, because you said that, Kirk, I probably will be checking out. I will definitely give it a shot. I would love to see that character in action. I really loved his cameo in No Way Home. I think that he worked really well with that script. And if the MCU wants to keep it like that and they want to keep it like, PG-13, as long as they do the character exactly the same as the show, that's all I ask. So I will have to watch the show in order to see the movie. I think it's coming out next year. I might be wrong, though. Regardless, let's go on. Black Panther, once again, is getting a C. We're going to go into the movie that has Channing Tatum that I liked a lot, except for one specific weird scene. I like dogs. I don't love them. I like them. I'm definitely more of a cat person. Dogs are a little bit too energetic at times. But this movie was about a soldier coming back and having a service dog to help him through everything. And I loved that there was such a great connection, and it was such a good focus on the dog, since the movie's called Dog. But there was some weird scenes, like I said here. There's just a strange one where he goes with these girls and they want to like have a threesome, and they're trying to get him like hooked up on drugs, and I'm just like, there's kids in the audience. This is PG-13. The parents are thinking this is about a dog, We've all seen like PG-13 dog movies. Why are we having this weird sexual shit? It just didn't make any sense for the plot, and it seemed a little out of place. It brought my score. It was at a C+ down to a C, and I really loved the end of it, even though it's the most cliche thing. You don't know that the character is going to be like, "Oh, I'm getting rid of you, dog. I don't need you anymore. Wait, I've changed my mind. I will come back to you, dog. I need you again. You're important to me. We had so much good times together." And then the dog runs over, and it's like a big happy scene in the middle of a field where their two characters haven't seen each other in forever, give each other a hug. It's like, yeah, oh my gosh, heartwarming. But I'll tell you what, there are some scenes in this movie that actually shocked me. There were some really well thought out scenes that made me feel for Channing Tatum's character, and also the dog, and also the people around. It was really smart when he had to get through the hotel, and his excuse that he had for like how the dog is attacking terrorists because there's somebody who's dressed in a hijab or something of that Eastern civilization, and he was trying to explain to these people. He's like, "Listen, this is a dog that's trained to take down terrorists overseas. This is a military dog. This isn't just any dog that just pounces on anyone." So they claimed racism with it, and it was a pretty interesting explanation that he had to give, and the way he got out of it was funny. Either way, if you haven't seen Dog, it's pretty good. It's not the best, and I could say that it is in line with Wakanda Forever. Just for me, I honestly like both movies a lot. I didn't like hate them in any way. I really just had my flaws that I couldn't forget, so I had to keep them at the middle range of my scores. Now we go on. I don't know how this... See, I put these movies in an order so that I would know that I liked one more than the other, but I think I'm going to change this one. This one has to go down. There's no way I'm putting Lightyear above Wakanda Forever or Dog. You know what? I'll put Dog under Wakanda, and then I'll put Lightyear under Dog. That's it. That would make the most sense. Lightyear is the origin story of the Buzz Lightyear character, not the one toy that we were introduced to in Toy Story, but the character of Buzz Lightyear that Andy got to see in theaters in 1990, whatever they made that movie. I think it was 1994. And we get to see like the cool, heroic things that Buzz Lightyear is known for, and why everybody wants to get the toy after they see the movie. And they chose to do a drama, space, or sci-fi adventure with just constant weird beats of humor and constant changing plot. And oh, for the love of God, when they revealed who Zurg was, I was so done. I was like, man, you can touch the Toy Story franchise in so many ways. You can make it just as heartwarming as we had before. But in this case, you decide to make a retcon of one of the most important storylines that we got from the Toy Story franchise. Now, once again, these are not the toys. This is an actual movie. and Emperor Zurg, and the big reveal is just like the one from Darth Vader, except for the fact that he's not his father. And that's where I was like, I don't like this. And then they revealed who it is and why they're there. And if you haven't seen it, I can spoil it for you right now. Buzz Lightyear of the future. And after he's screwed up so much, he's done this run a million times, it seems, with no success. I'm not crying, I'm just nasally. I don't know what's going on. He's done this run a million times, no success, and now he is stuck in this awful position, and he's just got this awful attitude where he should have never done this in the first place, and so he becomes the evil Emperor Zurg. This is where the problem comes. This movie has a lot of woke points that people have been talking about, because that's what right-wing media usually goes after. They had the one character kissing, and that's what most people's focus was. But for me, it was the story. It was the story of this. It seemed like they didn't want anything fun from Buzz Lightyear. Not only casting-wise, but it just seemed like the way that they wanted this story to be was very serious. And as a lot of other reviewers have talked about, this is not what you would show a child to get them into buying a toy. I mean, maybe some kids are into it. Maybe they like slow-moving sci-fis with extremely dark, depressing stuff, like death and marriage and kids and all that. It's like, what the hell is going on? Why is all this in the movie? Why aren't we getting more action? Why isn't this fun? Like, that's the thing, is like, it missed the tone that you wanted to have for the character of Buzz Lightyear. I remember getting Buzz Lightyear. Everybody remembers getting Buzz Lightyear when you're a kid. You're like, Buzz Lightyear, yeah! Buzz Lightyear of Star Command! Come in, Star Command! You're like, you get so excited. That was the greatest thing. I had a birthday, my 4th birthday, and I would scream Buzz Lightyear. I don't have a clip of that, but if I did, I would post it. And it was so much fun to me. And I love the character from the Toy Story franchise, because, you know, we're kids. We like toys. Toys are cool. Toys coming to life and talking to each other that aren't trying to kill you. Pretty awesome. I could say that works, and here we are stuck with this character that seems like they were a Lost in Space episode that should have been canceled, or a Star Trek episode that should have been canceled, and it seemed like these characters that they put on the side were useless, except for the little kitty. Socks the cat. One of the highlights for Pixar. The only toy that I would possibly get if I had a kid and they were like, oh my gosh, I need a toy for that movie, I'd be like, let's get you Socks. There's an adorable little kitty. Little robot cat. I like that part. I like the character. I like the humor. I like that it was sentimental at times. Gave Buzz some support, especially emotionally. And I like that little part. And I could say that that's why it really got a C instead of pushing it down to like a D+ or C-, because it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. It's just that they have these things that you are expecting, since you already know the lore from Toy Story, and they don't even follow through on it. The TV show, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the video game I had, Lord Emperor Zurg, right? He's important to the character because he is the Darth Vader. Like, that's such an important thing. The kids, you know, didn't grow up with in the 90s like me. We didn't get to see that because Star Wars wasn't the big thing at the time. But Toy Story gave us that done version in Toy Story 2, and we got it in a humorous way, but it was really smart. And the TV show that followed with it, the animation for it was fantastic, and they had a lot of fun with the character, and it was always Buzz going after Zurg, and they never hinted at anything of Buzz screwing up a mission and consistently throwing his whole life away, and then ending someone's life because he just couldn't get this mission correct, still not believing in himself to the point where he becomes Zurg. That is not what I wanted. I'll tell you that. Either way, that's Buzz Lightyear for you. Ice Age is a D. Thor Love and Thunder is a C-. Minions Rise of Gru is C- for now. Lost City is C-. Then we'll do Buzz Lightyear. Then we'll do Dog, and then Wakanda Forever. That's my list for C's so far. We have a couple more C's on the way, and as soon as we get through those, I'll be done with this entire show for tonight. And then I'll have it uploaded for you guys on Spotify and with color, because my color booster is not available to me while I'm live streaming. But I will be able to do all of that for you so you guys can catch up on it. And then I'll give you the next part. Let's move on. This is the C's category still. We are up to Bob's Burgers. Now, I never saw the show before seeing this movie. I have seen episodes, not even episodes. I saw part of an episode at one point, and I was like, I don't get the show. I don't get it. But my future bro-in-law, I could just call him my brother, he wanted to see this movie. He was excited, and he doesn't really want to see many movies that come out these days because they're just not that good anymore. It seemed like 2020 was a dead spell. 2021 wasn't really that great either. He didn't really have interest in Spider-Man, so he missed out on that big, huge cinematic thing. But he was like, this is the movie I want to see. And another movie as well, which is also on this list. Actually, two others, I believe. Regardless, no, 4. Bob's Burgers is a really funny show. I finally caught up on a couple episodes of season 1, and I'm in love with some of the writing. I think it's great late night humor. It's literally like a perfect thing to throw on when you have nothing to do and you're like, I'm kind of bored, but I don't want to sleep. Throw on Bob's Burgers. You'll have a great time. Bob's Burgers, the movie, seems to play it off like The Simpsons. And I'm not talking the new extra inventive crazy type of Simpsons. I'm talking like the old-fashioned Simpsons. The beginning of The Simpsons. Nice dry humor and not really much of a huge conflict that you have to deal with. In this movie, the Bob's Burgers movie, we're dealing with a murder. And you're thinking, wow, that should be a really serious subject matter. Wow, it's going to be violent. But all these characters are like so nonchalant. And now I understand the show because I've seen it. And I'm like, okay, so that's how they are. But the thing is that there's more risks taken in the show than there is in this film. And I find that very strange because Bob's Burgers is an IP that should have that kind of cinematic experience that pushes the bar. Just like they did with the Simpsons movie and showing Bart's dick and having more not aggressive, more suggestive material and stuff like that they couldn't really show in the show as much. Same with Family Guy and their mini movies and stuff like that. You can push the envelope a little bit more when it comes to cinema. You can have more fun with it. You can make it rated R as well. That's always an option, like Robot Chicken and stuff. But Bob's Burgers, the movie, was so dull for me because I didn't really understand the humor yet. And it was also focusing way too much on the kids looking for the murderers, and then the murderers being like, oh no, you found us and stuff, and oh, I was the person all along, ha ha ha. And it was a big reveal, but like it didn't seem like anything was big wow, big whoa, you gotta see this because this is the movie version. It felt like just another episode of Bob's Burgers with a lot less extremes. Like there was this good heartwarming moment with the son at the end, and the daughter talking about how she could never have her hat taken off and stuff like that. I get that the characters are very important there, but there was some stuff that just like I was like, what are we doing? Where is this going? And it was a musical at times too. Like there's songs that they're singing, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here. I might need to rewatch this film, but for right now, I can say it is a solid C. It was definitely enjoyable, especially now in retrospect, being able to say that I've seen the show, a little bit of the show at least. I can say that like it fits a bit more than I had originally thought. And also, I really do like the humor of Bob's Burgers. I think it works really well. Dry humor. For me, you have to have the perfect delivery. The way that they do it so nonchalantly about like everything is so funny. And the way that the girl with the bunny hat or whatever, whenever she says something extreme, it comes out of nowhere and then they just discard it like it never happened. And I'm just like, wait, she just said like murder someone. What the fuck? Where does that come from? And they play off these extreme things as like really nonchalant. It's a very smart show. Regardless, the movie didn't really hit me as much as the show has now, but I will probably need to rewatch it in the future. For right now, I still give Bob's Burgers a C. Another C, and now we're in the C plus range because holy shit was this movie fun. But there's some stuff here that I still, to this day, seeing it now twice, I could say that it's not exactly what I wanted. There's some people that love this film, and I completely understand. It's a fantastic version of a Christmas movie that it's an action movie as well. I am talking about David Harbour playing Santa Claus in Violent Night. Violent Night is a film that is just exactly what it wants to be. It's Die Hard meets Home Alone, and it's all these annoying characters, and that's one of my biggest flaws about it is like I don't care about any of the characters except for the little girl. I honestly wish they would have all been shot by the end of the movie. I was like, please just kill them off. They're so useless, they're so greedy, they're so stubborn, they're so annoying. And no, they're all there, at least the ones that survive. It's like, whatever. But the little girl, the scenes with David Harbour playing Santa Claus and actually showing the heart of Santa instead of just the rated R, just dirty, disgusting, bad Santa moments, you could say. It felt really nice to have that around Christmas time. Even though it's an action movie, it felt like really good Christmas, heartwarming feelings from that. Violent Night is a fun experience if you just want to watch Santa get his ass kicked for the first half. And that is my biggest flaw with this film. The pacing of the first half is taking its sweet time to give us a little bit of a backstory of Santa and why he can't be as violent as he used to be and how he's changed over the years and how much he's been through this and how much he wants to quit being Santa Claus because it's just so much work on his shoulders. Then the second half comes, which is exactly what we want. We get the awesome action. We already have him with the walkie-talkie, just like Die Hard, and he's taking care of these guys in very creative and dark and twisted ways that you wouldn't expect Santa to kill people. And holy shit, the last death, or second last death, is insane. There's some shit that goes on that I never would have expected to see in any movie ever, and holy cow, did they push the envelope for the rated R part of this film, especially the second to last death. Holy shit. Regardless, this movie's really fun. If you like a really good action movie and you like David Harbour, this is going to be for you. If you want to have a good, heartwarming Christmas movie to throw on for the family, avoid this. Avoid this except for like 3 scenes. You could show like 3 scenes and just don't show them anything else, and that's it. It's like perfect for your family, perfect for everybody around that's too afraid of extreme violence. I know a couple people, and yeah, that would not be for them. And I could say that this movie still cares about Christmas, still cares about Santa Claus, definitely followed the lore of the character, especially the old-timey lore and his hammer, and oh my gosh, it was so smart at some points and so weird at some points. And if those characters in the house were not so fucking irritating for the entire movie, we could have had something real special here. But for me, I had to give this one a C+. Danny turned 23 from The Warning. Happy birthday to Danny. Right now it's 12:22, so I'll say happy birthday to Carly Shay, one of my favorite YouTubers. Shay What Now, if you guys want to go check out her channel. She's an absolutely awesome reactor, way better than me. I'm just kidding. We don't really rate ourselves like that, but I can say that I truly love her content. Really good, genuine person, and she deserves all the love that she possibly can get because she doesn't get it from YouTube. They're really like giving her the middle finger when it comes to all of her rewards. They're just like scamming her. So all the fans, all of the subs that she's gotten, 100,000 now, have helped her out and made her feel a lot better. So happy birthday, Carly Shay. I'll probably just clip this and send this to you personally because I do care about you and I'm really happy for you. Either way, let's go on to the last part of the C's. I don't know why I put this in a C range. Some people have this higher. Some people have this extremely low. Some people were just devastated that this movie did not live up to their exact expectation. Uncharted is a fun action thriller mystery movie. If you don't know the video games like I don't, this is a great movie. It's just like Indiana Jones. They're self-aware, of course, with the Indiana Jones logic and stuff like that. They literally mention him a couple times. There's some good moments with Mark Wahlberg, a lot of great moments with Tom Holland. I don't know, I really have come around to the kid ever since I saw him in No Way Home. I think that was my peak of like, oh my god, this kid was perfect for this role. You know, he did so much in that movie. But regardless, Tom Holland's great. Mark Wahlberg plays himself, no questions asked. That's how he always does it. The girl character, I can't remember what actress that is. And the villains, very good. I thought the movie was interesting. I thought the twist was good. I never had played any of the video games, so I can't possibly tell you if anything is correct for the plot or if they did anything correctly at all. I just thought it was cool to see some pirate ships flying across the sky. I know that that's a really stupid answer of why this one is so high on my list, but I had fun with this movie. I've seen it twice now, and I could say that this movie definitely can hold up if you're in a good mood to just watch some fun action adventure, kind of like National Treasure, except for National Treasure took itself seriously. This movie seemed to be more of a joke most of the time, and like very, very little sentimentality except for like the brother scenes. But since you guys all play the games, whoever's listening right now, if you do play the game, then you already know how the movie ends. You already know what happens in the game, and I don't think it'll be greenlit for a sequel, but maybe. And I wouldn't have any issue going and seeing another one, but probably will never play the games. Not a big PlayStation guy anymore. PS2 was my favorite, and yeah, I never got into anything after that. I've seen a few of her reactions before. She is great. Kirk, dude, she is so nice. Honestly, she's such a good person. Carly is one of the most genuine people on YouTube. Also, my friend Bottom Line, if you guys want to go check that out. My friend Jimmy over there, he reacted to a ton of artists that I've reacted to as well. And he took my advice and listened to Alip Ba Ta. Really, really good dude. And both of them should definitely deserve more respect. Also, we can never forget one of the biggest guys that, took over the reaction game from the beginning, Alex Hefner, who recently moved over to Hawaii with his wife. And I'm so happy for him because he deserves to be in a nice, peaceful area away from all the bullshit and just having a good time with whatever he wants to do. That dude is definitely very passionate about his YouTube career and his real life career. He put his whole heart and soul into getting his law degree and becoming a lawyer, all of that law school stuff I would never follow through on. So big props to him. Regardless, it is now the final film of 2022, and this one is going to take us the full time that I have left here. I think I won't even go till 1 o'clock. I'll try to skim through this, but there is some things about this movie. I really thought this could be one of the greatest movies of the year. This is one of the greatest movies of the year if you're looking at one character, and that is Elvis. Austin Butler absolutely nailed this role. He really, really cared about Elvis, and he talked about it behind the scenes. He talked about it in interviews. This kid was made to play Elvis. The issue when it comes to this film, besides the crazy directing, which I'll get into in just a moment, is the actor playing Colonel. And that is Tom Hanks, which is a fantastic actor. But the way that this character comes off is very disgusting. He feels like the Penguin from Batman. You just don't want anything to do with the man, and you have way too much time with him, and he's just constantly manipulating Elvis, ruining his life, and not giving a shit about anybody because he's making money. It's so evil, and I get that it might be a real story, but I would rather have it from Elvis's perspective than seeing this man talk about Elvis like he's some kind of puppet on strings. This is a legend of rock and roll. How could we possibly look at this man in any other way? The thing about this movie that works so well is Elvis. Austin Butler, with his performance, his physical performance, his vocal performance, everything that he did, he really paid attention to every little nick that like Elvis was known for. And then we have this character that's constantly manipulating him, and even that is happening, and you're like, you know what, fine, we still get Austin doing his thing, this is fine, I can handle this. We get to the end of the movie, and it does the big, huge end scene. I noticed this trend ever since Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know if it started before that, but what happens at the end of every single tribute, documentary, autobiography, biopic, you get stuck with a big, huge performance that was in his time period, remade by the person that's acting as the role. And then they show you the real role, and it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, and I could say the Whitney Houston movie, but I'm going to spoil that movie then. Either way, I would say Elvis as a movie by itself is so cool and unique and it's a must-see for anyone that truly loves the character and wants to see somebody portraying that character and getting a little bit of their backstory. Really not much. They didn't really dive deep into his trauma or anything of that sort. They really focused on the music, which I was fine with, because I was kind of stuck with Freddie in Bohemian Rhapsody a little bit too much. It felt like I was like, I know it's about Freddie, I know it's about the band, but I wanted more of the band. I wanted more about the music and how he creates it and stuff. And I know he's got a tragic story too. But here we are, stuck with Elvis. We're learning about him. We're getting to see some old characters from the old days and how he connected with them and what kind of music he was listening to at the time, what kind of music inspired him, where he grew up. All of that was fascinating. And then you have this piece of shit colonel that is just manipulating every single step of this man's life, telling him that he will never be able to leave America. He will never be able to have a world tour because the people are too dangerous out there, because he just wants to keep them safe since he's dealing with all the passings that he had recently, and he's taking care of himself by giving him extra drugs. Like, this is such a sick, twisted man. Why do you want to have time with him? I don't want to have time with him. That's what my question is like, why do you want to have time with this awful man as opposed to the Elvis character? The movie is called Elvis. You would expect Elvis to be the main character, but no, we're stuck with stupid Colonel and his stupid remarks about this incredible, tragic story of a fantastic artist getting his way once and then losing everything because of contracts and so much fake care for a man that really doesn't want anything but money at the end of the day. Like, he played it off like he cared about the death of Elvis's mother or father, and I was like, this is so awful. Not father. I think it was his mom or grandma. I don't know. I can't remember that specific part, and it's not because it's bad. It's just because I cannot remember at this moment. But there's some weird things about this movie that definitely do not fit, but are very unique. If you wanted to see some really strange cinematography, this movie's full of it. There is like 4 times where we are zipping through the sky, flying up buildings to open into a big, huge circle, like, what do you call this, Ferris wheel, just spinning around, and you're watching this Ferris wheel, and that's how they transition from one scene to another, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Like, the whole time you're just like, what the fuck was that? Then you get to the character, you get the development and stuff, and then it goes right back into that batshit crazy, flying up the building, into the window, across the sign. Everything's flashy and overdone. I was like, what the fuck, man? So weird, so strange. It fits for some moments because it's big, flashy Vegas, but then other moments it's like, we're going through an emotional scene right here, man. Why are we doing this weird distraction in the middle? Just not a good choice. Yeah, Tom Hanks' character didn't come across well. I didn't know anything about him before I saw the movie. I feel exactly the same. I didn't know anything about the Colonel. I like that we got to know that character, but honestly, if we got to see this man in the shadows, right, pulling the strings, being a piece of shit, and we got to see it from Elvis's perspective as, oh, can I still trust this man? I have a good heart. I have a good feeling about this. I just want to be the best big star that I possibly can. And then you could be like, oh, Elvis made a poor decision, but you wouldn't hold it against him in this case. This man made it sound like everything horrible was ever going to happen if he ever were to leave the country, like everything bad. And he completely manipulated everybody in Elvis's crew to make sure that he couldn't go for that one tour just to see his fans around the world. Like, so sad, dude. So tragic. The ending performance, I could say as well, by Austin Butler was phenomenal. I know I just said that it's a cliche now with the biopic of showing the final performance and having the 2 that look exactly the same, the original and then what they did for the movie. But regardless, I thought that he did excellent as this role. He deserves the Oscar that he won. And yeah, Tom Hanks, not the best, not the best character, but very good actor. I'll tell you that. There's one movie that's on the list that we're going to get up to, and you guys will be floored. And I will honestly make sure that I end with this specific movie, that you guys all go spend your money if you have any. Go on, watch it for free. I don't care. Make sure that this gets great word and spread it around like wildfire, because there's a fantastic film that he has made just recently. Either way, thank you again for watching. You guys are absolutely awesome. This was so much fun again, and we will continue the ratings of movies that I saw in 2022 or that were released in 2022, the 1st of February. As always, have a great day and stay safe out there. No, you know what? Have an awesome day and stay safe out there. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Media Man Dan podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, have an awesome day, and stay safe out there. Peace.